Hey, welcome to Feisty Chess. We are playing RS 143 RS on Lee Chess. We're black and we're meeting D4. Okay, I'm thinking either King's Indian here or a Benoni. I'm feeling Benoni here. I don't have a very good record with the Benoni, but I've been trying doggedly to learn it. Knight c3 is the main move here for white. He's tempted to play d6 though. Oh, okay. This allows me to have a nice center. I should be fine here. Let's see. What's the best way to continue? He wants to play e4 here, so I think now's the time I need to play d5. Okay, yeah, I gotta prefer black here, right? The pawns I've used to capture have actually remained on the board, whereas his pawns that have been used to capture are gone. So it's like he hasn't gotten any time out of them. He's got a knight move out, whereas I've got a knight and two pawns out. This has to be good for black. Well, that's a very timid move here. Blocking in this dark squared bishop for white. Okay, let's just play knight c6. And this looks like a nice version of a Teresh defense, which I also play against d5. Except I'll have a rook on an open f file naturally when I castle. Does my bishop want to go on e7 or d6? That's the question. Yeah, I think d6 would just drop that pawn. So let's put it on e7, get castled. Can white put any more pressure on that d5 pawn? I don't think so. So it's time to castle. Okay, he's lining up against my kingside there. c4 is somewhat tempting, but the bishop would be fine on c2. That gives up the d4 square. I want to play h6 to prevent a knight from coming to g5, but that just gives this juicy square on g6. That's the problem. So one of the downsides of not having this f pawn, where does my bishop want to go? Okay, the bishop's going to go to e6 here. If knight g5, so be it. I'll just play queen d7. Okay, now I get queen d7 in anyway. And I'm looking at eyeing sacrifice ideas over here. Maybe trading off light square bishops. And then at least just connecting my rooks and finishing development. And protecting my bishops, so everything about this move seems pretty good. So now white's problem bishop becomes more apparent. He could play e4, but it would seem like a wasted move. Okay, where's that knight headed? F4 or G3 possibly? This gives me a chance to play my knight in here. My knight definitely is happy on E4. the knight just naturally belongs on e4 in these positions. And if he wants to trade away the bishop, does that lead to me losing my center pawn? Knight e4. Well, let's look. Knight e4, bishop takes, pawn takes. The most forcing line is queen takes, bishop takes. And his knight is attacked, but he can counterattack like this. I can play bishop f4 to defend it, but then knight g3, and I'm losing that pawn, aren't I? The knight wants to come to f4 for sure. Maybe now bishop d6? If I play knight e4, you can also go bishop knight f4 immediately. I could just play bishop. Oh, you know what? What about the sacrifice now? Oh, the sacrifice looks good now. Let's entertain this possibility. Bishop takes here. If he goes knight f4, I can just come right back. Or I could even go bishop g or f5. So I'm safe. The critical line is obviously taking. So I'm down to bishop for 2 pawns. After queen takes, though, I'm hitting this knight on f3. He can defend with knight f4 there. And attack my queen. Queen check. And he could block with the knight. Okay, let's just play to our strengths. Let's get our rooks on open files. This is maybe going to support a knight to e4 later. I'm expecting knight to f4. Yeah, okay. Now knight e4 maybe? Looks good enough. I mean, I'm just getting low on time, so got to make the move. And I looked at it long enough. I didn't see anything wrong with it. The knight just kind of naturally wants to come to e4 as an attacking piece. And he'd have to go to some lengths to get rid of it, either giving up the bishop pair or playing a move like knight d2. I also have the possibility of g5 now, which seems like a radical option, but if this sacrifice on h3 somehow works, g5 might be a really good way to go. So from this position, if white makes some kind of nothing move, g5, seems like the knight, well, okay, the knight would take the bishop, like he just did. So I think I'm fine here. It wouldn't behoove him to take that knight right now, would it? He wants to get his bishop on that diagonal. I think this is a good move to make that more difficult. We're getting our other knight into the game, threatening to take and double up some kingside pawns. Also threatening that bishop. And now we're hitting this rook. So we can't play bishop b2 just yet. He's got to go rook. Okay, you can go there. That doesn't bother me. Now we've got to have some kind of attacking possibilities here. Bishop h. Ooh. Bishop h4 looks really good. Bishop d6 also makes sense. He's got f4 hitting the queen. This looks pretty forcing. c4 hits both of these pieces. Let's say he takes here. It's not going to work. I suppose b6 is a sensible move. I've got to look at... Oh, sacrifice on f2 with the knight. Looks awfully strong here. Because I'm recapturing with a threat on the rook. And a pin, but then queen e2. Okay, I think that threat gets strengthened when I play bishop here. Bishop here. Okay, my queen will guard this pawn after I recapture on e4 with a pawn. So this looks like the... Okay. I recapture with the pawn. And now this pawn is a real bone in white's throat. And my queen guards the c-pawn. Queen c2 would make sense here. Would also guard the second rank. Yep. Is there a more active way to play? b6 is probably a good move. Pardon my cat. All right, 2 minutes. So to white's 8 minutes. But I like my position. White does have a check, but it doesn't seem to be very useful at the moment. But maybe we'll just play king h8 if we don't have any better ideas at some point. Probably bishop b2 now. And I think queen f5 makes sense. Yeah, let's just go ahead and make that move quickly. Some rook lift ideas. Rook e6 and then g6. Just to start trying to make some kind of threats here. Problem is, black's formation looks pretty solid, and although he seems to have enough defense, his pawns, I can't figure a way to force them open without maybe without pushing my own g-pawn forward. That could favor me in this position, but it looks awfully risky. G5 right now, for instance, would be a huge mistake, because after queen c3, how do I stop a mate on g7 or h8? It just looks really ugly. My king's going to be chased at the very least. So g5 right now is a mistake. Let's do this rook lift plan. That gives black rook d7. Gives white rook d7. Oh, but rook d7 and then rook... Yeah, the rook would defend here as well as it attacks. So I'm going for this. Not worried about this pawn because there's bigger things at stake on the king side. He does have that queen pin idea, but I always got king h8. Actually, the queen pin doesn't work right now because my bishop bears down. Bears down on f2, so he needs his queen to guard that second rank. Okay, I've got the initiative here, I got the attack, but he has 4 more minutes. I got a 5-second increment. So my next move, if he allows me, is going to be rook g6, and that's going to threaten. Queen takes h6, h3 with a mate threat. Okay. I'm happy with this. He goes for the check. Yeah, I'm hitting his rook here. And I'm also threatening f7. I've got to have too many threats here, right? Okay. Okay, if I take here, he takes on e5. Okay, this wins me at least a pawn. He's given up defense of this, and I should win 2 pawns here. Maybe just 1. Well, the obvious thing here is to go for the queen trade. Oh, but does that leave me in a kind of an ugly pin situation? It might. Does my queen have any alternatives? I don't think so. I'm going to try to unpin before he can attack my bishop again. Oh, it's not going to work, is it? Oh, back ranked. Oh boy. This has happened to me consistently. My back rank tactics are really weak lately. And my cat's chewing on my power cord. Not the right time here. Oh, this is ugly. I've got to defend like this. Oh boy. Ah, there's no getting out of this. Okay, maybe my king can get active. Take your pick. It's not looking good here. It's looking very bad. Okay, I've still got pressure on that pawn at least. This, frankly, is pretty resignable. Serves me right for playing late at night. Okay, he's just going to give up that pawn. Why not? Maybe I can make him think a little bit here. Oh, let's just try this. If he takes that pawn with the rook, he's not going to do that. Well, is there any stalemate chances here? Almost. Okay, I'm throwing a towel. Probably rude of me to play on that long anyway. So if you've watched all the way to the end, kudos. You have a heck of an attention span there. Okay, this is really good. Actually, you can't ask for... I mean, black is very happy when white goes for the capture on e6. So black's results are equal in these lines. Yeah, d5, cd, ed. And this is where we diverge. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense to get the bishop out. So many d4 players aren't concerned with getting this bishop out, and that baffles me. Like, play bishop g5 or f4 or something here. e3 immediately seems very passive. Yeah, I'm up a pawn in the position according to the computer. More or less holding that. It's dwindling, but the computer probably doesn't like when I'll give up the bishop. It wants to go bishop f7. Actually, that really makes a lot of sense. But then knight g5, and you're giving up the bishop pair anyway. So why not just give it up here? Okay, yeah, the computer likes this trade for me. Oh, bishop f6. Oh, that makes more sense. That forces the rook over. Okay, knight takes f2 is the way to do it. That's thematic of these positions, and I'm disappointed I missed it. I mean, I at least have 2 pawns for this, right? Rook takes f2. Oh, but now bishop d6. Okay, and we're going to lure the king away from the rook. Rook f5? That doesn't make any sense. Why not this? Oh, because mate in 10 is why not. Oh, and the king has nowhere to go. How does white even avoid this? It just goes for checks. Bishop f7, queen. Yeah. Okay, like white just finds a way to give up all of his material like a computer. What about this? This is the only follow-up I looked at, and that's good for white. Excuse me. So yeah, finding bishop d6 is the key here. What about rook takes? Oh, that's got to be pretty good. Okay, king takes, and then you've got a bishop check. This looks good. Nope, nope, that's not good. Striking that that's not that good. Follow up here is rook check. King e2. Bishop h4. We're coming in with a second rank check. Okay, lots of possibilities here, but it all started with knight f2. But it wasn't enough time for me to see all that. I should... This is the point where... Oh, bishop h4 is not too great. Knight f2 is very thematic. That's why the knight is so good on e4. But finding the follow-up is the tricky part. How about bishop h4 here? Nope, no good. Bishop d6, it's not that hard to find, really. Rook f5 is a really strange solution. Just give the piece back. And now you've defused white's attack long enough to... Yeah, but now we're just going up 2 pawns here. And this ending should be pretty straightforward to win. Well, I missed that chance. I think rook takes f8 is a very natural move here. Well, maybe queen here, then queen h2. Bishop g3. Oh, yeah, you're in check. The queen is gone. But it's worse than that, apparently. Okay, I even made a comment about knight f2 and somehow missed that. Okay, but all wasn't lost yet. I still had a good position. Although I said, okay, wow, queen c2 was a horrible blunder. Bishop takes f2. So these sacks on f2 are everywhere. Rook takes f2 is no good. Oh, because the rook on h8, h1 hangs. Okay, my tactical vision is not what it used to be here. So yeah, the bishop, take the bishop, and then what if the king just goes over here? Bishop takes e3. Is this really -6, just being down a couple pawns? Rook takes f1, bishop d4. Yeah, I guess the big pawn on d5 or e4 here is just worth that much. And black's very well coordinated. Okay, from here, man, I thought this was good for me. King h8, and I am winning here. There's a mate. Missed opportunities here. Learning opportunities, though. Rook takes g2. Take that initiative at the cost of a rook. Of course, there's queen f3 at this point. I did not see this. Yeah, king here and bishop check should win the day. There's a mate in here somewhere. Oh, queen e2, huh? Rook f2 is probably good enough too. Yeah, this should do the trick. Can't play any g5. Queen g3. Finally we get to the mate. It's there. It's down a long tunnel. Oh no, that's not a mate. King h4. Oh, queen takes h3. Right, I missed that. Okay, the tunnel's not that long. All right, that was probably my last chance. But wait, there's a stronger line for white. That's this. No, bishop g3, really? Oh, because you got queen e2 check. And then wherever. Yeah, white's just getting mated on the back ranks here. And then, of course, if this, then the same thing applies. I'll move later. Wow, okay. Knight takes f2, bishop takes f2, rook takes g2. I was just too afraid to sacrifice. Some of it was time trouble, but some of it was just, frankly, a lack of feistiness. So I went for this here, and this is good. This is good. Queen takes d5, and I'm still good. King to g8. Oh, well, obviously, that's the simple way to break the pin. That's the easiest way to break the pin. And I'm just up a pawn here. And I have a better position in general. I still got the initiative. Black has to do something about this pawn, like bishop c8. Yeah. It's still a game. I'm looking at this kind of thing. Oh, but now that should win. Force the exchange of rooks. And just got a pawn up. Same colored bishop's ending. Should be pretty pretty routine endgame win. So even here, I was good. I wasn't making bad moves. That finding king to g8, obvious move really at the end. King g8, but then how do I hang on to this pawn? Again with the bishop g3. Can't take here. Oh, rook d6. Oh, look at that. Look at that. There's no stopping this mate. Unless you want to get your rook to the back rank via here, but I'll just win the exchange. And then I'm winning more stuff. Okay. Yeah, I was winning towards the very end. I was winning right at the very end. But yeah. Honestly, rook f6 is probably... No, I can't do that. So yeah, king g8 solves my back rank problems and protects this rook to break the pin on the bishop. Obvious move, but it was just a matter of time trouble. I didn't have 5 seconds to find it. So, okay, watch your clock, people. Watch your clock. That's the lesson of the day. Stay feisty.